a final tour and look around our build, the Lands of Africa Zoo. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. So, here we are at the entrance. Just zooming out. As you can see, waterfalls either side of the... As I forget to press play, there we go. I am going to pause and play between this, just because the people annoy me when I'm trying to zoom around the camera. We've got shops and refreshments and so on, and toilets on the left hand side as we enter the entrance dome. Reason being is because of if you stop at the zoo after a big journey, you're going to want to get a refreshment, have a little toilet break and so on. We've got a couple here, so we've got a chief beef. Next to it, I believe as I walk into the wall, a gulpy, and then we've got just a memento here, and then the toilets next to it. There we go, here we go, quick wee break. So, behind us was our, I believe, second episode we ever done on the channel, bringing back the memories of starting out my YouTube channel, to be fair. A few episodes later here, this one, I think it was episode 29, so there we go. Oop, here we go, playing around with the camera. Sorry about this, as I jump in the water. Right, let's start again. So, we've got the big baobab tree in the centre, like the tree of life as such, and so on, there. So, here we go, slowly spin round. And in the first habitat here is the Nile Monitor. We've got a couple in here, a male and female, and some babies now. As you can see, an adult there and a baby just by the mouse cursor there itself. So that's this side. Again, like a backwards C shape habitat going around the centre circle of the dome itself, and then onto the left was the phoenix fox, which come out in the Africa DLC. Quite a few of these in here. Quite a sort of adventurous type exhibit with fallen down trees they can climb up and climb over, rocky outpost out the back, and a lake in the middle which they can swim and jump in, and so on and so forth, as we watch a few of them here. There we go, running around. Okay, so the main dome is now coming to an end. We'll come out, and to the left hand side is the two exhibits really that we've got. We haven't got any more, and the first one is the Dung Beetle, which I struggle to find. I always struggle to find these without actually clicking on the animal, so do excuse me. The reason being there's only two in here because it did start off as a African only zoo, and then we've done a bit of an extreme build off once we complete the Africa's animals, and a separate section here a bit later on you'll see. Here we have I believe it's the puff adder. There's a couple are in here, but here's one here we'll just zoom in on as he sticks his head up like you recognise us. There we go. Right, as we zoom out of the people here. Okay, so then to the right we have a sort of fenced off area, a bit of a scenery section too, with a couple of choices of paths to go. So we ignore the left section to start with. This is the Meerkat Exhibit or Habitat. Quite a load of meerkats in here, but I like big family groups anyway, as I zoom into the telly and then jump into the exhibit. One of my favourite animals, meerkats to be fair, in the game and out of the game, so really glad that Planet Zoo finally brought these in halfway through the builds themselves that we were doing here. So, right, let's follow back round. I'll just grab a better camera angle here. So pause it again. And then the next habitat coming up is the Adabra Tortoise. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but there we go. As you can see, quite a few babies in here. While I've been playing on play and not pause, they've been breeding like mad, a bit like the rabbit. But there we go. And then as we follow around the right hand side, what I'm going to do first is get rid of this grass growing in the middle of the path, which looks silly. We have got our multi-animal habitat, which was based on a build from the Steam Workshop. I can't remember who built it. It is in, I think, episode 3, or even one of the beginning ones, where it was a buffalo build, and I'll talk more about that in a second, but we'll just spin round to the African penguins. Again, one of my favourite animals, and I was glad these came out in the African, or the North African DLC, as we jump into the water in the moment, watching them darting around. And again, these things have been breeding like mad, as you can see. Quite a few babies in there. So a couple of choices on path directions, so we're going to take back the route we were following to start with. Some scenery to the left, and again, like I said, the multi-habitat to the right. This one here is like the glass cave, where you can look in and see our family of cheetahs. There's 4 in here, male and female and 2 cubs. And it looks like they're all in getting some shade at the moment. Idea of this was to be like a cave, so they can have their privacy, but you can look into. So, and then there's the cheetah run itself to the left hand side. To the right is part of the multi-animal habitat, like I said. Excuse me. Another one of my favourite builds I've done, this cheetah habitat. I really like the incline rock in the centre where they can climb up on. We'll follow the path on again straight, and then we'll go through some of the inner circle bits in a moment once we've finished on the outer side, because it all loops together. So in here is the stable antelope, and the idea of this habitat, it was so you can sort of feed the antelope, and we'll get there in a second. Me getting ahead of myself. So the river section here, we've got a staff access because it is part of a dam section itself, so the staff can get there and open or close the water flow, speed it up, slow it down, depending on how much water they want in the exhibits. So as you can see, the centre section here is pretty dry. Again, it's all sort of make-believe sort of water dam systems. So now across the guest path, you look down, like I said, this part of the dam, lower it down, letting the water out. In this section here, you can overlook and you can just about see the saltwater crocodiles in the more flooded section of the water, the river itself. There we go. So let's cross the bridge now and go to the right to start with. And here we have our western lowland gorilla habitat, a very luscious habitat with plants and trees, because hey, they live in that sort of environment, so I've tried to mimic it here. And again, with the rocky outpost out back forming a sort of barrier across the back of the build itself, so you don't see over the river itself, sort of includes its own little section. And our family of gorillas here, which will slowly walk by. So ignore all the alerts coming up. Excuse me. I know there's a few staff issues with the zoo. I haven't really built many facilities, so my apologies if you get annoyed with them coming up as we watch this little baby gorilla drink out of the river the pond section in the habitat itself, and then he stands up, sits down, and his mate comes running over. Here's Dad pushing around the tyre. Well, I think it's Dad, it could be Mum. There we go, and then the tyre just disappears. Wherever he's done with it, I don't know. Magic gorilla. Oh, there it is. Pops back up again. So just pause it again and then we'll move on. Now, to the right hand side, again, like I said, this river started off, this build started off a buffalo passing, I believe it was called, in the Steam Workshop, which I've adapted to my own zoo and built around. So thank you very much for the person who created it. I can't remember your name, so my apologies, but I won't take credit for this design to start with, but I have adapted it, made it bigger myself for a multi-animal exhibit. So all the sort of plain African plain animals you would imagine, all in this exhibit. So your wildebeest, your buffalo, flamingos, ostrich, giraffe, zebra, elephants, and the southern white rhino when that was finally released to the game. And he finally got a spot in this habitat too. I'm just showing you how big this area is, as you can see. And again, we'll zoom back in, back on the path. The idea with the path system here is it's like you're in the outback itself, not the outback, but the African sort of plain itself, walking around on your own little foot safari with a small little fence in between, so you don't get squished by any sort of animal. And again, like I say, we'll just take that little walk around now. This back section where you got the giraffe feeder here. Idea is that you can see them up close while they're eating. Around, as you can see, the giraffe for some reason are like standing on that rock. Some Thompson gazelle here, just walking through the long grass. And an elephant in the background too. There we go, you can see the entrance dome in the background also, with a bit of a backdrop there. Also there you can see a southern white rhino just walking in the distance. Quite a few animals there. The giraffes bending down, eating from the floor. So let's follow the path back round. Bit of a loop system, so it's a continuous flow, so you don't have to turn back on yourself as such. So let's follow that through the trees and join up with the main path again. So back we go, back to the gorilla habitat even. As you can see, the babies there and the family there by the glass. So we'll take a quick run while the people have paused. Here we go. So back to the main bridge itself, crossing. So we're at the other side of the river still. And this, like I said, when we're on the bridge, is the saltwater habitat itself. Saltwater crocodile habitat even itself. So to be fair, they do come up here when they get fed. There is that underwater feeder in there too, but I'll just jump in and show you. Here we go, here's one here on his way up the hilly side itself. Again, with this build, the water shallows out to the far end of the exhibit, as you can see, just through the fence here. Sort of dries out almost completely this section itself, and the idea is when it rains and so on, it fills back up again, because I know the rainy season it can sort of chuck it down out in Africa. In here you've got the African wild dog, quite a large pack, and again all part of the river section itself. As I zoom into the rock, quite a magic rock, really, a disappearing rock, trying to get a better view, but we'll go back around the other side to look at them. Again, this one was a good sort of favourite build for myself. There we go. Still trying to get a better angle, but I think I'll move on to the next habitat in a second. Just having a quick look, see if I could see any. No. So this one is the Pygmy Hippo. I didn't add these into the multi-animal habitat because I thought it's already got the hippo in there. I don't want to put the Pygmy Hippo in with the normal hippo. They're just like they're the babies, so sort of mixed them up, and they've got their own little habitat here in the separate river section. The idea for the Lands of Africa to start with was to build around this river, so it's like the centre of life really. All these animals and so on draw into the river section itself, because that's sort of the great form of life really. Without water there is no life, so that's the idea of the build itself with the river section. So we'll leave the Pygmy Hippos, and again there are two viewing spots for this, one this side of the river and one the other. And we move on to the lion habitat, as we see the male, our only male, running across this side of the river. Quite a few cubs in here. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink. There we go. So quite a few cubs in here and females. And then, like I say, the one bachelor enjoying life in here, the one male. Waterfall being the start of the river itself. I know it's not tall enough in here. It won't produce that much water. It doesn't really make sense, but I thought it was a nice way to put in a nice thing to put into this habitat. The idea is that the lions can swim up to it, climb over it, and so on. They get a little rock island in the river section itself too, which you will see throughout the build. So we're now coming back to the beginning of the island itself, the inside section of the river. Ignore the right hand side for now, and in front of us as we're forming this is the Meerkat Exhibit again, or habitat even. The far end of it really. Very rare for some reason they come over here. I've put some sort of habitat items this side, so your termite mounds, as you can see, and the tunnels, but a rare occasion they venture this side. And again, this is still the lion habitat. Just watch these cubs fight here. Then going back to eat his meat. Like I say, there are quite a few, as the people run into me, quite a few cubs in there. And again, in front of us, the meerkats, and then the African penguin here, habitat. The idea was this: you could see into the water, so it's like built up on a raised platform as such, so you can see them underwater, and you can go up and see them the other end. Again, we'll just go back to the lions. So we're just going up to the back of the African penguin, and then over this section here, as you can probably tell, we have got the spotted hyena. Okay, so a family of hyena in here. Again, they can climb up over the top of the pond section itself. As you can see, two of them on the left hand side, enjoying their sun. Quite a few in here as I spin back around. And then behind us we've got the top of the African penguin habitat. As you can see, quite a few of them in the cave section, shelter section itself even, just sleeping, resting, getting out of the sun really. And again, you can see either side, you can see the stinky fish there, letting off a bit of a bad smell, as you can see the gas. And then to this side you can see again, and then the entrance to the habitat there. There's quite a lush sort of build of grass there. A little baby penguin there, sleeping. So let's turn back round and come down from this high viewing point. As you can see, there's a small rock there. I didn't pay too much attention, sorry, where the hyena can climb up to, and you can have a sort of face-to-face encounter with a hyena if and when they feel comfortable to go up there. So the other side, the cheetah run and the front of the hyena habitat, they've just been fed. So we'll spend some time with these. A little cub there, as you can see, and a few adults. And a zookeeper pooper scooping behind them. Bit of an oasis feel to this one with the nice shining water in the background. Again, the cheetah run here. And I've noticed the cheetah family have now come out of their cave as I jump through the fence and have a quick look for us. The four of them following each other there. So back to the stable antelope habitat here with the sort of barn area, which we'll venture to in a second. Then you've got a choice as a path, and we'll go through these in a second. So we'll go to the stable antelope, and the idea of this was that you could, once we go in, you can then buy some feed from this stall here when there's a zookeeper here, and then you can feed the stable antelope from inside their sort of barn area, stable area itself. So there we go, quite a few in here, young babies in here too, as you can see, and then one sleeping in the second, just there it is. One sleeping, two sleeping even just down there. Bit of hay there too, so you can feed it hay and all sorts. And in here, the other side is the aardvark. There was two in here. I'm not sure if they're bred. So you've got a sort of rocky sort of archway in the centre of this build, which they sleep under. And then the outskirts is like a circle where they can venture around a bushy, very lush plant life to one side of it, like a sort of forest area, so they can go sort of exploring, snuffling through there, and then an open section, as you can see. So just turn back round in a second. So like I say, it all loops together, so that's the river section itself. So let's go back this way, and then we'll turn right here at the hyenas. There we go. This is the lions again, so the corner of the lions. And you can see the path we were on a moment ago with the people walking in the distance there. Then we will go up on this high sort of venture point itself, where you can look at the Pygmy Hippos sunning themselves the other side of the river. And sometimes you may be able to spot them taking a dip in the water too, as I sort of try and find some. There they are. There we go. So here they are, just walking now to the water section itself through the mud pool. Here we go. So the idea of this one is like a riverbank either side, a bit like rocks and foliage. There's a lush deep water here for the hippos to graze on too. There we go. So I've put trees in the background too of the other side of the river, just so it looks like it sort of goes on back into nature again as I merge into the ground. Okay, so next up through the river, this side is the African wild dog, as I zoom in too far. I've noticed this feed bag has got a mind of its own, doing a little dance. I did think initially there was a dog there, but there's not, so I don't know what was going on there. As we just zoom in on this dog here, looking into the bush by the looks of it. There we go. So that's the other side of the Aardvark habitat. Like I say, a sort of luscious side with this giant rhubarb plant here, and the grass, the African green grass. I can't remember what it's called, but that sort of builds a nice sort of lush texture for them to graze through and dig through and so on. So here we go, the African wild dogs running around having a race, and we'll follow one. There we go. So past the stable antelope to our right. Looks like they're hungry, realise there's no food there, and they run back off again. Here we go, this is the saltwater crocodile habitat. So we've finished the centre section of the river side itself. So let's take a walk back round to the meerkat section itself, and we'll go into the separate build of the zoo. The idea was this was like a marketplace section, which has been converted to a zoo now. The idea was with African, in the old days they sort of used camels as transport and so on. So once we get there I'll explain. There we go, back round the tortoise habitat, the meerkats. So with this build here, like I say, when we get through the gates, I'll explain about the camels and so on. As we just look at the meerkats again. Nice little water fountain in here, a bench section so you can sit down, look at the meerkats, chill out. So through we go to the zoo side of things here now. So on the left hand side, the idea was you could park your camel. So if you arrive by camel, you walk it in, pay the man or the woman at the stall, and then they'll look after your camels, they'll park them up for you. So in here you've got 2 camels at the moment and a baby, little viewing gaps in the fence too. And there are, you see the metal H stands there where you can tie them up and you go on camel tour and so on. So here we go into the Lima tree top trail itself. Idea is that you can walk through the trees with the Lima. So we've got all 3 in here. The new one that was released for the 2nd anniversary, so the black and white Lima. You've got the black and white ring-tailed Lima and the red rough Lima in here. Quite a lot of them. This platform with shade on so they can eat, sleep and so on, away from the guests themselves. But when we follow the loop round, the guests themselves can look at them on the floor, because they do go on the floor too, and the vines so they can climb over, and a sort of circle here which you can walk round, and again, so you don't have to turn back on yourself, you literally follow the loop round as I play with the camera so I don't shoot off. There we go. The rocks there hide in the tunnel down from the entrance. As we look at this one, climb up, and we'll race around because I realise where they're going. Yeah. So he's going off to the mirror here. There we go. So we'll watch this red rough lemur here. The idea is, like I said, so you can get face to face with the family of lemurs in here. Who wouldn't want to do that? Well, except from that view there, looking at his bum. So we'll carry on, we'll just look at this one, climbing and jumping here. There he goes, off he goes. We'll follow back round the exit platform here, well, fly, and then back through the door itself. Here we have our kangaroos, and again, a feeding station, shelter, so you can feed the kangaroos. Quite a large herd of kangaroos in here, with some babies too. And then you can see in the background the entrance point for the snow domes, which we'll enter in a second. Okay, so to the, there we go, our little town centre marketplace just in here, where you can get refreshments. So a few stalls, a few benches, a few vending machines, and a few more shops, and toilets just in the tower block itself there. So the path does go back that way, but we'll turn back round and we'll go through here. There we go. Back this way. And here we have our Californian Sea Lion show itself. So we've got our new stage sections from the North America pack, which is a great add to Planet Zoo, as I make a mistake with the camera and then have to make my way back to the stand. 2 seconds. To find every law of gravity and so on going, passing through buildings. So as we take a view of some Californian sea lions, I might pop in the water, there we go. A few of them coming our way now. So you've got a backstage section to this which is all hidden, so you can't see them other than when they're doing the show, which is normal for quite a few, most zoos really, who do shows like this, as that one jumps out and jumps back in. I think there's a few more coming, so we'll just hold on. There we go, one's just popped his head up there. So stage section, as you can look, your sort of beach hut type section, so a bit of a water show itself. You train the sort of sea lions to do sit-ups and so on, clap and wave and all that sort of stuff for a show. That's the idea basically. Play with the football on its nose, on the old classic seal thing, and the skittles. So as we now got 2 on the, one even, as the other one falls back in, on the actual stage itself. There we go. So let's take a walk out of here. Through the wall again. Now onto the snow domes, which I have recently built. If you've been following the actual playlist itself, as we watched the kangaroos eat from the hanging foliage itself. So up we go into the snow domes, and first in is the Arctic fox, I had to think then what it was called. A small pack here. I think there's about 6 originally. I think they've had babies. Let's zoom in at a couple because they are quite small. A couple of variants in here. We've got white and black. Looks like they've reproduced because there was originally one black one. Then as we can see there's 2 now. And I think that might be the baby there. This is the adult. And again, this is a 2-section sort of thing with the bridge over the top. So over this side is a more sowy section. The other side's sort of thawing out with the sun coming from the roof. And again, a cave at the background so they can go in and sleep and rest and get out of view of the people watching. So through the ice arch itself, and then we have got the king penguin habitat. With a load of penguins in here. Idea was I got this from when I visited SeaWorld in Florida. I remember walking through, then going on like a moving escalator on the floor through a penguin habitat, a bit like this. So you're literally in with the penguins as such, in their habitat, and same sort of thing. So the path snakes round. 2 sort of water section. Well, it's 1 water section and it's got like a little icy bridge across it, so they can waddle across instead of swim. Sort of like the ice forming, it's cracked, so they can get in the water as such. Underwater feeder in there too. They have reproduced quite a few babies in there as we go around. There we go. One of my favourite animals, penguins. So I was glad when they all come into the game itself. Through this arch itself, and then we have the polar bears. So we've got two, a male and a female in here, both in the in this section itself. Yes, I know that it's too small for them, but it's on the sandbox, so I don't mind. In real life, I would never put them in a cage, well, not a cage, but an exhibit this small. But there we go. So a breeding pair in here. Water going under the path system itself to the secondary dome. So they've got some more space in there. There we go. We'll go through here. Just see this is more of a water section with an icy section either side, so they've got room to walk all the way around. And then finally, the last dome is the reindeer. And who can't resist a Santa's sleigh, which I found on the workshop, so thank you very much whoever built that. Again, I'm rubbish with names, so I do apologise. A waterfall just under the path itself, leading into this pond area where this one is drinking from. And again, the ice there, just giving that sort of realism of the water sort of freezing, because it is a cold temperature, freezing over slightly, but the animals there drinking from it and managed to break it off and so on. So, like I say, Santa's sleigh and a Christmas tree there. As we follow through the S-shape path system again, sort of repeats itself really, but I thought it would look best so you've got one view of one dome and then the other view of the other dome, sort of zigzagging itself around. Here is like a land section itself, just actually an open sort of plan, so they can climb round and sort of run round itself. This one is playing with the big ball of snow. So there's the reindeer. And then we'll spin back round. There we go. So, out of the domes themselves. And then onto this small sort of section here, which is a bit of a display. So you've got the reindeer and penguin statues. And then the next animal to the left is given away by this statue here, which is the Timberwolf. A pack of Timberwolves in here. Again, waterfall section, and an indoor section because there is snow in the exhibit, and the snow in the floor of the exhibit too, which is in the shade of the building. So it kind of makes sense as such. Quite a few benches here so you can chill with the wolves. As I zoom in and spot, there's quite a few of them sleeping here. I think there's 3, 4, even 4. All doing the same thing, sleeping there. And we'll zoom straight through the other side. Here we go. And another viewing point here with this one walking. And again, quite an open plan, but little foliage sections, broken logs that fell down, as you can see the snow, so they can sort of climb and dig around and so on. So through the through the cave itself, the idea is to hide some of the backstage stuff here, and then you've got this sort of vista point and viewing point emerge as you come round into the clouded leopard habitat. It was meant to be a snow leopard. Yes, there's snow in here, but I put the wrong animal in, and I've kept them anyway. So please don't complain. I realised my mistake straight away, but I've kept them in. So there's 2 in here, and while I was filming this walkthrough, they have sort of got a baby on the way now, so there will be a cub in here shortly too. So we just zoom in. Look at this one with our X-ray super binoculars that goes through walls. So yeah, forgive me, wrong animal in here, but we kept them anyway. We made it work. I think it works. They look good as this one sort of floats in the air up the pathway. So that blue tower here, that is the central sort of market again. So this next habitat here was from the Northern America pack, so it's the American alligator. Quite a bit of a swamp section itself with the water, and then the sort of land areas either side. It sort of goes like a sea and then a sort of line off it with a big puddle, a big pond section even. So it's got sort of waterways. And then our last build on our channel, last animal build even, just behind it, as I try and find some alligators for us to look at. Again, because it's a water section, we've got the waterfalls in there, just giving that sort of feeling. Typical, yep, they're in the water, so let's go diving in. There we go. So, there was a couple in here, I think they're bred again. So we've got a few of them in here now, just swimming around. There we go. Wouldn't want to do that for real, go swimming with an alligator, but there we go. Good job it's a game. Like I said, it's our last build the other day on this on the channel and the playthrough in the zoo, and it is the Cougar Habitat we built. Still got the two in here, they haven't bred yet, so let's spend some time with these. Again with the sort of tower in the background, the trees in the background, just giving it the feel that there is something behind here, and it's not sort of dead world at the end, as that one sort of floats down from the tree. This one's walking on branches, but there we go, as he falls back down. So let's get out of here and turn back round. So thank you very much for being a part of this playthrough and this playlist. 29 episodes, my first main sort of project on my YouTube channel. I really hope you enjoyed it. I've enjoyed building it, so I just want to take the time to say thank you for being a part of it for me, with me even. We will move on to another Planet Zoo project. I'm not sure what it will be, and it will probably come next week. My weeks are pretty busy now with the world coming back alive from coronavirus. Started going to the gym in the evenings during the weekday, so I don't really play during the weekday anymore. It's mainly at weekends, and I sort of bang off a few episodes in the weekends and release them during the week. So same again, we'll do that, but it's just literally trying to work out when and what we are going to build next on our Planet Zoo journey. So like I say, thank you very much. I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you got time to do so. So thank you very much again for being part of this journey. I'll leave you with some sort of cinematic views of the zoo itself I've taken. So I've been Isolation Player. Thank you for joining me through Lands of Africa, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you very much.
you.